Hey, what's going on? You know who it is. You know what it is. All right, man. I just got up a little while ago, man. So I'm gonna put out some videos, man. Couple of videos, get them out there and shit. But anyway, man, I want to respond to a video Dontae put out, man. Earlier this morning, I had a chance to listen to it as I was, on my way home from work. And basically, it was an interview with Virgil Hunter, where Virgil Hunter basically expressed the fact that he believes that HBO purposely protected, Triple G from Andre Ward. You know, well, as you guys know, um, I've made videos about this very subject myself. I do believe that HBO protected Triple G from Andre Ward, and that they had a gag order for people, in the media and for people that work for HBO not to even bring up the very notion of that fight happening. Look, Triple G fans are just blatantly stupid. They don't want to accept the truth. They get mad, when you criticize Triple G, because as long as you criticize black fighters, and Hispanic fighters, you can't criticize Triple G, who once again ain't technically white, but for some reason, white people claiming him as their own, because basically they desperate to have their great white hope, and their great white hope is Triple G. They tried to do it with Manny Pacquiao, make him their adopted great white hope, but then that all ended you know last May, against Floyd Mayweather. But yeah, I do believe that HBO protected, you know, the so-called killing machine against Andre Ward. Look, you know, uh, boxing fans, or should I say fanboys, they get to the point to where they ain't really, boxing fans or pure boxing fans. You know, I've seen Triple G fight several times, and I know that he could be beaten. He just haven't been put in the ring with a dude that has a fighting style that could beat him. I know several, I can name several fighters that I think could beat Triple G. No need to go into that. We already know the main one that they believed that could beat Triple G. They pretty much bribed him, because that's what they did. They signed Andre Ward to that 3-fight deal, you know, including the Sergey Kovalov fight, just as long as he stayed away from Triple G, and it pretty much was a bribe. Look, Triple G fans are full of shit. They want to holler boxing is a business. Oh, Andre Ward is too big for for Triple G, but Triple G isn't too big for Floyd Mayweather. You know, they say Floyd Mayweather should challenge himself and go up to 160 weight division. He's never fought it. But then on the same note, they say, well, Triple G has never fought at 168, and that's not fair. But he was allegedly, supposedly trying to fight Carl Froch, which that seemed to turn out to be a fucking lie. That he was interested in fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., that turned out to be a fucking lie. He just calls out these names, just to blow smoke up his fans' asses, but he really ain't serious about fighting them. Then you got a dude, and Lara, that's a natural 154 pounder, that said he's willing to go up, but then yet they don't want to make him an offer, but they want to fight guys like Dominic Wade and Willie Monroe Jr. and Curtis Stevens and Ashita and Martin Murray's, guys with no punching power, or that's like mediocre fighters at best. Some a fighter that got some kind of, you know, disadvantage against Triple G. Yes, Triple G hits hard, but he isn't the most hardest puncher that I've ever seen. You know, he looks like he's the hardest puncher ever because he fights dudes that can't really punch that good. And I've seen shit with Triple G that could be exploited by a certain type of fighter, but we already know they don't want to put a certain type of fighter in the ring with Triple G. HBO don't want to see Triple G lose anytime soon. So they're going to be careful about who they help put in the ring with that dude. They knew what would happen if they put him in the ring with Andre Ward. It would be a one-sided beatdown. Andre Ward would beat the shit out of Triple G, humiliate him, and you know what I'm saying. And then his fans, would probably commit mass suicides and once again, find some other, find another great white hope to cling on to, because you know how this works. So they don't want to do that. Andre Ward versus you know Triple G is Kelly Pavlik versus Bernard Hopkins Part Two. Just like Amir Khan versus Canelo was Canelo versus Josito Lopez. That was Part Two. I'd already saw that fight and I already knew what was gonna happen. So yeah, I do believe that they protected that guy against Andre Ward. They didn't want the fight to happen. Look how people react when you bring up the very notion of them ever fighting, and it's a fight that could have been made. I don't want to hear that shit about why should Triple G have to move up. Other fighters that did it, and don't bring up fucking Marvin Hagler. We ain't talking about Marvin Hagler. We talking about Triple G. Y'all keep saying Triple G is better than Marvin Hagler, and y'all keep saying Triple G. Well, Marvin Hagler never moved up in weight. Well, like I said, Marvin Hagler didn't say he'd fight anybody from 154 to 175 either. Because if he would have said it, then I would have held him to those kind of standards. You can't sit up there and say anybody. Anybody means anybody. But then when people raise their hand and say, oh, well, I'll fight Triple G, then all of a sudden, I just noticed that. It's a pattern with Triple G. He does not want to be in the ring. He's not interested in fighting people that call him out. I've noticed that. Who has he fought that has called him out? Exactly. You can sit up and say whatever you want to say about Floyd. You know what I'm saying? Juan Manuel Marquez called him out. Floyd fought him. Manny Pacquiao, after years of bullshit, lightweight called him out. He fought him. You know what I'm saying? Robert Guerrero called him out. Fought him. Canelo called him out. Fought him. You know what I'm saying? Zab Zuda called Floyd out. Fought him. Boldemir called Floyd out. Fought him. But nah, anybody that calls Triple G out, we're not looking into that fight right about now. That's not in the card. So we'll revisit the Andre Ward situation in 2017. So like I said, y'all sitting up talking this shit about, oh, you smell pussy with Canelo not fighting Triple G. Well, I smell pussy with Triple G not fighting a gang of fighters. Do you know what I'm saying? Now they going after Billy Joe Saunders. Like I said, a fighter that you already know is gonna lay down. That's their narrative. They going after fighters that they think is afraid of. And they think Daniel Jacobs is semi-afraid of him. So now they sort of like going after him. But I bet you if Daniel Jacobs starts saying, you know what, I'll fight Triple G and I'll beat this motherfucking ass, how much you want to bet then they ain't going to be so hesitant to make that fight? And like I said, you stupid ass fucking Triple G fans, come on my channel and talk all the shit you want. I'm still going to keep putting out these videos. You ain't doing shit. Y'all white. I don't care what white people think about me. How many times I got to say that shit? I don't care what you racist white Triple G fans think. I'm going to still keep putting out these videos bashing Triple G until he fights somebody with a pulse and stop going after these tomato cans like Jay Nice said, fighting all these can of corn motherfuckers, tomato cans, soda cans, you know what I'm saying? Macadamia nuts and cans until he stop fighting those type of dudes. I'm not fucking with Triple G. So y'all keep the disses coming into that dude. What do you say? What your name was? World News or whatever. Eat a dick, bitch. So you know what I'm saying? It's just like y'all come on here thinking that y'all checking people and thinking you can make somebody like Triple G. I don't have to fucking like Triple G. And don't compare me to other people that like Triple G. I don't give a fuck about that. They entitled to their opinion. I'm entitled to mine, man. You know what I'm saying? Tell Triple G to fight somebody, man. Tell him to stop hiding in that garbage ass middleweight division, man. And test himself. See, that's the thing. Y'all didn't want the Andre Ward fight to happen. Y'all came up with all kind of excuses about inactive. He's not a draw. He can't sell tickets. Let me tell you something. If that fight was made, it'll be a big fight. It'll do good on pay-per-view. Everybody knows who Andre Ward is, pretty much. So let's just cut the shit. Tell me where I'm wrong. Every time somebody even brought out Andre Ward, well, They disregarded it. Look how Max Kellerman disregards the fight. He don't say, well, I want to see that fight. That'll be a good ass fight. That'll be a good ass fight. You know what I'm saying? Nah, they keep saying, well, yeah, maybe later on I want to see it. Nah, that would have been the biggest fight of last year. But Triple G and his team just didn't want it. And Tom Loeffler could talk around the situation all they want because that's all they fucking do. He sit up there and trying to insult people's intelligence, try to play the Jedi mind trick. Oh, it wouldn't have been a big fight. It wouldn't have been an interesting fight. It wouldn't have been a great fight. It would have been a great fight. But the problem is, it would have been a great one-sided fight. And everybody knows it. But, take it however you want. I told you, motherfucking Triple G fans, nobody give a fuck about y'all getting mad and shit. And y'all come on here and talk all the shit you want. Because I told you, I'm going to still keep putting these videos out. And I know y'all somewhere, I know the dudes that I blocked, the Triple G fanboys, the hillbilly get mad. Because I know his bitch ass still listen to my videos. But you can't say nothing because you're blocked. Oh, and I know some of you guys got aliases and shit, and I'm gonna block those too. So, on to the next subject. I'm out.